that it's snowing. Just absolutely amazing. Well, it's pretty cold here. So I'm gonna get back on the bus.
Might be a few bumps as we back out of here, guys, so just be aware of that. It's amazing how quick the weather can change out here, isn't it? Now, this area is incredibly popular for ski mountaineering. Ski mountaineers come from all over the world to ski up the glacier, and then they'll camp on the ice field for up to 2 weeks at a time. They can ski year-round up there, as well as they do some kite skiing up there. I've seen videos of that. You can imagine being up on the ice field when the weather goes sour. It becomes very dangerous up there. It's hard to navigate, if not impossible. So it's left to only the most professional ski mountaineers, but many people are lost each year. In fact, 5 years ago they found 2 climbers on Dome Glacier, which is another glacier coming off of the ice field. And they had been missing since the 1980s. Their bodies were found perfectly preserved in the glacier with their snowsuits still on in 1980s fashion, so purple, bright, vibrant snowsuits. Pretty interesting to discover those guys. On the way back down, we can talk a little bit about the hydrology of the area. A lot of people often ask, where is the glacier going when it melts? Where does the water go? Here at the Columbia Icefield, we're located in such a spot on the planet that gravity pulls this water into 3 different oceans. This is known as a triple continental divide, or hydrological apex. So there's a mountain located on the Columbia Icefield, and the mountain is called Mount Snowdome. It gets its name because of its dome-like summit. And from the center of the summit of Mount Snowdome, if you poured a glass of water at the very top, that water would split up into 3 separate streams and be pulled into 3 different oceans. So this water on the Athabasca Glacier we see flowing beside us, it's going to go all the way to the Arctic Ocean eventually, and it will take the Athabasca and Mackenzie rivers to get there. We also have eastern-facing glaciers on this ice field that feed the Saskatchewan and Nelson rivers, taking that water all the way east into Lake Winnipeg, then Hudson's Bay, eventually reaching the Atlantic Ocean. And the western-facing glaciers feed the Pacific Ocean via Columbia River and Bush River. So the Pacific, the Arctic, and the Atlantic are all fed by the meltwaters of this Columbia ice field. About 44 billion people depend on the meltwaters coming from this ice field alone. We use it for drinking, but we also use it in the agricultural and mining industries. Not only do humans depend on this water, but a significant amount of wildlife does as well. One of the strangest questions I've ever been asked out here are, where are the penguins? Somebody thought they'd see penguins out here, but we're not nearly far enough south to see penguins, and other people sort of expect to see polar bears out here, but we're not far enough north for them either. So let me know if you're seeing any polar bears or penguins out there, because it might be time to change your medication. Or maybe share your medication with the driver. There's really no polar bears and penguins out there. There is no large mammals, in fact, that go onto the ice field. In the past, about 50 years ago, there was sightings of a grizzly bear on the ice field, but that's quite rare. They might use the ice field to traverse over the divide and get to different feeding grounds.
32%
The reason there's no animals up there is because there's no food for them. But I was lucky enough to go onto the ice field in 2012, went for a 3-day camping trip up there myself with a certified mountain guide. And I was really surprised to see just how many insects are up there. All kinds of bugs. There's butterflies, moths, mosquitoes, black flies, even bumblebees up there. Now those bugs don't go up there by choice. They get blown in on strong wind currents, and then they end up getting stuck and embedded in the first couple layers of snow, where they end up dying up there. So there's quite a few dead bugs up there. And those bugs will attract some species of birds. We'll get crows and a few species of hawks, as well as snowy owls on the ice field. And they'll eat these easily attainable insects. But other than that, it's very much like a frozen desert up there. Not too much life at all. You can see all around the bus here, there's all kinds of rock, but believe it or not, there is ice underneath this road. This part of the glacier is known as the ice core moraine. So there's still nearly about 100 meters or 300 feet of ice underneath this road right now. All this rock you see has come down on rock slides and avalanches throughout the year, and it's given the glacier a bit of a blanket-like effect. It insulates the ice underneath it, almost acting like a sunscreen, protecting the ice from the direct sun rays. And that makes this one of the slowest melting points on the glacier. So as we transition from this section to the steep hill coming up before us, we are currently just leaving the glacier now. And it's time to turn your chair into a recliner as we climb back up this steep moraine. This is where the bus really shows us what it's made out of. It's got a 250 horsepower Detroit diesel engine. So not many horsepower, but very low gear ratio, and that offers us up about 850 foot-pounds of torque.
Nice.
So quite a bit of torque to get back up this hill. We're going to need every little bit of it. If you look closely on the left-hand side of the bus, way down there in the valley below, you'll see what they call a tarn, T-A-R-N, and that's a glacial lake left behind by the melting glacier. The name of that lake is Lake Subwapta, and it's a pretty interesting lake. It's one of the youngest lakes in the Canadian Rockies. It's only about 50 years old, and it's always changing color with the season. A couple weeks ago, that lake was as blue as Lake Louise. Now you can see it's taking on a bit of a grayish-brown look. That's all due to the material that's flowing in on the meltwater streams of the glacier, and it's all to do with temperature. So in the early months of the summer, April, May, and June, we get a little bit of a blue color to that lake. But as it warms up into the later parts, late June, July, and August, we get more meltwater flowing in there. Therefore, there's more of what they call glacial till flowing in there. Now, another name for glacial till is rock flour, because the glacier grinds the rock down so fine that it almost resembles baking flour. And that baking flour-like rock stays buoyant in the water, or if it's left at the right concentrations, will give you a beautiful blue tinge. But if there's too much of it, it will no longer reflect any blue colors. It'll just appear that brownish gray look that you see here today. If you came back in July or August, that lake would look silver, almost like freshly laid down concrete. That lake is slowly filling in with this rock flour material. They say within 20 or 25 years that lake may no longer be there because it'll be completely filled in. So it is slowly shrinking each year. But right now you see signs of a new tarn or a new glacial lake forming in its place. And that will be par for the course as the glacier recedes. It'll just be lake after lake after lake. They say within about 80 to 100 years, where you guys were walking out there will be a giant lake, very similar to Lake Louise. So it will be the major lake once the glacier recedes. So if you're lucky enough to come back in 80 years, these might be boat tours that'll take you out there. As we pass by the moraine on our left-hand side here, you can see that there's wavy ridges to it. These ridges indicate the movement of the glacier back in the 1840s. So in the wintertime, ice will push forward out of the valley because there's a tremendous amount of snow weighing down on the ice field that will push the ice forward. And with that ice comes all this debris. In the summertime, it will then recede, peeling back, leaving the debris behind. The next winter, it will push forward once again, creating another ridge to the moraine. So by measuring the distance in between these two ridges on our left-hand side, we can see that the glacier was moving quite a bit even before the Industrial Revolution back in the 1840s. So many people are quick to blame global warming for the loss of ice fields and glaciers, but that is only one piece of the puzzle. Many scientists believe we're in what they call an interglacial period. So these glaciers are receding now, but they may advance once again as the climate changes. So only time will tell to see what this area has in store for it in its future. Looking at the rock cut on our right hand side, if you look closely enough at this dark material, you can see that there's layers of this rock. These layers indicate that this area was actually under a shallow inland sea at one point in time. Geologists say that over 600 million years ago, there was an ocean here. No mountains like you see them today. Now, we know that there was an ocean here because of the type of fossils you'll find in the rocks in the Canadian Rockies. You'll find all kinds of coral reef fossils, there's ancient fish fossils, there's seashells and trilobite fossils, all kinds of different sea creatures embedded in these rocks. And I've seen some of these fossils firsthand, climbed many of the mountains surrounding the ice field, including Nigel Peak, which is over 10,000 feet or 3,000 meters above sea level. And at the summit of that mountain, it's almost as if a dump truck has just unloaded a whole pile of fossils. It's hard to take a step out there without crushing something. So it's quite wild up there. That being said, the motto of the national park is take only pictures and leave only footprints. So if you do come across any fossils in your hikes out here, please leave them where you find them so that future generations can enjoy the discovery of those fossils way in the future. As you can see though guys, we are coming near the end of the tour, so please make sure you gather all your belongings off of the bus. I'll do a quick sweep of it, make sure you don't forget anything, but if you do find you're missing anything after the tour, please just check on eBay in the next couple of weeks. I'll have it up there. But seriously, we do have Lost and Found at the Icefield Center, and if I do find anything, I will bring it down there so you guys can take a look if you do find you're missing anything. But please, watch your step on the stairs as you exit the coach, guys. I don't want to see anybody fall now. You guys conquered the glacier. Please don't hurt yourself on the stairs. Your shuttle bus will be here for you very shortly if you just want to wait underneath these shelters we've provided for you. And it won't be too long until your shuttle comes and picks you up, brings you on to your next adventure. See if I can get this bus lined up here. Alrighty, here we are. Thank you very much for coming, guys, and enjoy the rest of your time out here in the Rockies.